You know, when you build a house, you become obsessed with the structure. You check the foundation for cracks. You make sure the walls are plumb, and you ensure the roof is sealed tight against the storms. You spend all this time and energy creating a shelter, a place of safety and peace. But the strangest thing happens once the house is built. We get careless about who we give the keys to. We leave the front door wide open and wonder why the cold gets in. We let people track mud all over the floors we worked so hard to polish. And then we feel exhausted from constantly cleaning up their mess. Today, we're going to talk about the most important construction project you will ever undertake: building the walls and fences of your own life. We're going to talk about why you must cut off anyone who lies to you, who makes jokes at your expense, who uses you, and who disrespects you. And yes, that includes the people you love the most, your close friends, and even your family. This isn't about being cruel. It's about being the architect of your own character. And an architect knows that some ground is not suitable for building on. Stay with me, because by the end of this you'll have the blueprint to protect your own peace. But first, I want you to think about this and leave your answer below. What's the hardest part about letting someone go? Is it the guilt, the memories, or the fear of being alone? I'll read through the responses. Before you can build anything that lasts, you have to understand the integrity of your materials. You have to know what strengthens your structure and what weakens it. When we talk about people who lie, disrespect, or use you, we are not just talking about unpleasant acquaintances. We are talking about rot. We are talking about termites in the wood, cracks in the foundation, and leaks in the roof. These things are not minor inconveniences. They are structural threats to the entire home you are trying to build for yourself, which is your life. Let's break down the materials you need to reject. First, let's talk about lies. A lie is never just a single, isolated thing. It's a seed. And when you allow someone to plant that seed in the soil of your relationship, it grows into a weed that chokes out the light. When someone lies to you, they are fundamentally altering the reality you share. They are laying down warped floorboards and telling you they are straight. You can't build anything stable on a foundation of deceit. You start to second-guess your own footing. You start to question what's real and what isn't. I've seen it happen. A business partner who tells you the numbers are fine when they're not. A friend who tells you they have your back, only for you to find out they were the source of the rumors against you. These aren't just words. They are acts of sabotage. They create a fog inside your own home, making it impossible to see clearly. And if you can't see clearly, you can't build. You can't plan. You can't move forward with any sense of confidence. Allowing a liar in your life is like hiring a carpenter who uses a crooked level. Sooner or later, you'll find that everything you've built together is slanted, unstable, and destined to collapse. Next, let's hammer into these so-called jokes, the kind that are always at your expense. You know the ones I'm talking about. They're usually followed by, "Hey, I'm just kidding," or "Can't you take a joke?" This is a subtle form of poison. It's not a sledgehammer. It's a slow, steady drip of acid on the concrete of your self-worth. Each one of those jokes is a small act of demolition. It's a little chip in the wall, a tiny crack in the window. On its own, it seems harmless. But over time, those chips and cracks weaken the entire structure. They let the wind and rain in. They make you feel small and exposed in your own home. This isn't friendship. It's not love. It's a power play disguised as humor. The person making the joke is trying to elevate themselves by standing on you. They are testing your boundaries, seeing how much disrespect you are willing to tolerate. When you laugh along, or when you stay silent, you are essentially telling them, "It's okay. Go ahead. Chip away at my walls. I don't mind." But you should mind. A home is a place where you are supposed to feel safe and respected, not the punchline of someone else's insecurity. Then we have the users. These are the squatters in the house of your life. They show up when they need something: your time, your money, your connections, your energy. They are drawn to the warmth of your fire, but they never bring any wood to burn. They eat at your table but never help with the dishes. A user is a drain on your resources. Think of your life's energy as the electrical wiring in your house. You only have a finite capacity. When you give your energy to building your career, to your family, to your own growth, you are powering the lights, the heat, the tools you need to thrive. But a user plugs their own extension cord into your system and drains your power for their own benefit without ever contributing to the grid. They will leave you in the dark, wondering why your own lights are flickering. They will take and take until there is nothing left, and then they will move on to the next house with a working furnace. The most dangerous thing about a user is that they often disguise themselves as a friend or a loved one in need. But there is a fundamental difference between helping someone who is part of your structure and propping up someone who is a permanent liability. One is reinforcing a beam. The other is trying to hold up a collapsing wall that isn't even yours. Finally, there is the most straightforward tool of destruction: disrespect. This isn't the subtle chipping of a joke. This is the sledgehammer. It's the overt act of showing you that they have no regard for the home you've built or for you, the owner. It's the friend who constantly cancels plans at the last minute because something better came up. It's the family member who belittles your ambitions in front of others. It's the partner who ignores your needs and feelings as if they are irrelevant. Disrespect is a clear statement. It says, your house, your rules, your feelings, they don't matter to me. When you tolerate disrespect, you are handing over the keys to your home to someone who sees it as nothing more than a temporary shelter, a place they can use and abuse without consequence. You are allowing them to graffiti your walls, to break your windows, to leave their trash on your floor. No structure can maintain its value or its integrity under those conditions. I learned this lesson the hard way back when I was just starting my first construction business. I had a friend, we'll call him Frank. We grew up together. Our fathers worked at the same plant. We learned how to frame a house together, how to sweat and bleed and build something from nothing. When I started my own company, Frank was the first person I hired. I didn't even think about it. He was family, or so I thought. In the beginning, it was great. We were a team, building something we were proud of. But slowly, the rot began to set in. It started with small lies. He'd tell me a job was finished to a certain standard, and I'd get a call from an angry client a week later because corners were cut. I'd confront him, and he'd have a dozen excuses. It was the materials, the weather, the client changing their mind. It was never him. Then came the jokes. In front of the crew, he'd make comments about me being the boss man now, about how I must be getting soft behind a desk. He'd poke fun at my ambitions to grow the company, calling them pipe dreams. I'd laugh it off, because that's what you do, right? You don't want to cause a scene. You don't want to lose a friend. But each joke felt like a splinter of wood under my skin. It was his way of telling me, don't get bigger than me. Stay where I'm comfortable with you being. He started using the company as his personal bank. He'd borrow tools for his own side projects and forget to bring them back. He'd take materials from a job site, claiming he'd replace them later. He was using the very structure we were supposed to be building together to serve his own selfish needs. The disrespect grew bolder. He'd show up late, smelling of last night's bad decisions, and expect everyone else to pick up his slack. He'd argue with me in front of clients, undermining my authority, and making the whole operation look unprofessional. For 2 years, I made excuses for him. I cleaned up his messes. I smoothed things over with clients. I paid for the materials he borrowed. I told myself it was just Frank being Frank. I told myself you don't turn your back on family. But my business, the house I was trying to build, was suffering. The foundation was cracking. My best workers were starting to look for jobs elsewhere because they were tired of the toxic environment. My reputation, the most important tool a builder has, was getting damaged. I was exhausted, stressed, and I started to hate the thing I once loved. One day, I was on a site, and I saw a piece of wood that had been infested with termites. From the outside, it looked almost normal, maybe a little discolored. But when I pressed my thumb into it, the whole thing just crumbled into dust and insects. It was hollow. It had no strength left. And in that moment, I saw my friendship with Frank. I was trying to build a future with a hollow beam. I was putting all this weight and trust on something that had no integrity left. That night, I made the hardest decision of my life. I fired him. It was ugly. He yelled. He accused me of betraying him, of forgetting where I came from. He said things that cut deeper than any saw. And for a while, I felt a tremendous amount of guilt. I felt like I had failed him, failed our friendship. But a few weeks later, something started to change. The job sites became more efficient. The morale of the crew lifted. The clients seemed happier. The stress that had been a constant weight on my shoulders began to ease. I had cut out the rot, and now the structure had a chance to heal and become strong again. It took me years to understand that I didn't betray Frank. He betrayed the friendship. He was the one who brought the termites into my house. My only mistake was waiting so long to call the exterminator. That experience taught me that the people in your life are either beams that support the structure, or they are weight that weakens it. There is no in-between. So how do you do it? How do you become the architect of your own life and make these cuts? It's a construction project, and like any project, it requires a blueprint. Let's call it the blueprint for building boundaries. Step 1 is the inspection. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. You need to walk through your life, room by room, and inspect every relationship. Take out a piece of paper, and for every significant person in your life, ask yourself these 4 questions. 1. Do they lie to me, even about small things? 2. Do they make jokes that make me feel small? 3. Do they take more than they give? 4. Do they respect my time, my ambitions, and my feelings? Be honest. Don't make excuses for them. Don't say, "That's just how they are." A cracked foundation is a cracked foundation, no matter the reason. This inspection is about identifying the structural weaknesses. You need to see the rot for what it is. Step 2 is drawing the property lines. Once you've identified the problem areas, you need to decide where your property begins and ends. This is where you define your non-negotiables. These are your fences, your walls. For example, a non-negotiable might be, I will not tolerate being lied to. If I catch someone in a significant lie, the relationship will change. Or, my time is a valuable material. I will not allow people to waste it by consistently being late or canceling at the last minute. Write these down. These are your building codes. They are not suggestions. They are the rules of your property. They apply to everyone, from the mailman to your mother. A boundary is not a request. It's a declaration of self-respect. It's a sign you post that says, "This is where my property begins. Treat it with respect." Step 3 is the renovation or the demolition. This is the action phase. For each person who failed the inspection, you have a choice. Can this part of the structure be repaired, or does it need to be torn down? This is where it gets difficult, especially with family and long-term friends. You can start with renovation. This means having a direct, honest conversation. It's not a fight. It's a foreman's meeting. You pull them aside and you lay out the blueprint. You say, "Listen, our relationship is important to me, but when you do X, it makes me feel Y. This is a boundary for me, and I need you to respect it. This is a load-bearing wall in our friendship, and it's starting to crack. I need us to reinforce it." You are giving them a chance to see the damage and help you repair it. You are showing them the property line they have been crossing. Some people, when faced with a clear boundary, will respect it. They may not have realized the damage they were causing. They will see the sign, and they will honor it. In this case, you can begin the work of renovation. You can rebuild trust slowly and carefully. But you must watch them. Do their actions change, or just their words? Talk is cheap lumber. Action is steel. But others will not react this way. They will get angry. They will call you sensitive or selfish. They will try to gaslight you, telling you that you're imagining things. They will trample right over the property line you just drew in the sand. When this happens, you have your answer. They are not interested in renovation. They have no respect for your property or your rules. In this case, you have only one option left: demolition. Demolition doesn't have to be a dramatic explosion. Often, it's a quiet, deliberate process. It's not about hate or revenge. It's about structural integrity. It means you stop giving them the keys. You stop answering their calls every time they ring. You stop making them a priority in your schedule. You stop offering your time, your energy, and your resources. You are not cutting them off with anger. You are closing a door, locking it, and turning your attention back to the parts of the house that need your care. It's a controlled demolition, designed to protect the surrounding structures. You are removing a hollow beam to save the rest of the house. This will hurt. It will feel like you are cutting off a part of yourself. But you must remember, you are not removing a healthy limb. You are removing a cancer that was threatening to consume you. I know there are men watching this right now thinking about a brother, a father, a childhood friend. You're thinking about the history, the shared memories, the blood that connects you. You're thinking, but they're family. I understand that. But you need to ask yourself a hard question. Does that title give them a lifetime permit to destroy what you are building? Does being your brother give him the right to disrespect your wife? Does being your father give him the right to belittle your dreams? Does being your oldest friend give her the right to use you as her emotional dumping ground? History is the soil a relationship is built on, but it doesn't guarantee the health of the plant. If the plant becomes poisonous, it doesn't matter how long it's been growing in your garden. You have to pull it out by the roots before it contaminates everything else. This is the part of the job that no one wants to do. It's easier to patch a leak than to replace the whole roof. But a good builder knows that a patch is a temporary fix for a permanent problem. At some point, you have to do the hard work. You have to tear off the old rotten shingles and lay down a new solid roof that will protect you for years to come. After the demolition, there will be an empty space. This is where many people falter. The silence can be deafening. The loneliness can feel like a cold wind blowing through the empty lot. This is the moment you are most vulnerable. You will be tempted to go back to the rubble, to see if you can salvage something. You will be tempted to call them, to reopen the door you just closed. Do not do it. This empty space is not a void. It is a construction site. It is an opportunity. This is your chance to build something new and better in its place. Use that newfound time and energy to invest in the healthy parts of your life. Reinforce the beams of the friendships that do support you. Spend time with the family members who do respect you. Or, if you find that you have very few of those, use this time to work on your own foundation. Learn a new skill. Get in the best shape of your life. Build your business. Become your own best friend. When you build a strong, beautiful, well-maintained house, you will be amazed at the kind of people who want to come and visit. Good people are attracted to good structures. They are looking for a place of integrity, a place of respect. They are not looking for a fixer-upper or a demolition site. By clearing out the rot, you are making room for solid oak. You are creating a space that is ready for the kind of relationships that don't drain your power, but add to it. The kind of friendships that are a two-way street, not a dead-end alley. The kind of family that is a source of strength, not a source of stress. This is a lifelong project. You will always have to inspect your property. You will always have to maintain your fences. But it gets easier. The more you practice it, the stronger your own foundation of self-respect becomes. You start to spot the termites earlier. You learn to recognize the sound of a hollow beam just by tapping on it. Your instincts become your most trusted tool. You learn that your peace of mind is the most valuable asset you own, and you become ruthless in protecting it. You are the architect, the builder, and the owner of your life. Don't let anyone convince you that you don't have the right to evict a tenant who is destroying your property. Pick up your tools, read your blueprint, and get to work. What are you going to start building or demolishing this week? Let me know in the comments. Your story might be the blueprint someone else needs to see. Remember, the goal isn't to live an isolated life, walled off from the world. The goal is to live a secure one. A strong fence doesn't just keep bad things out. It creates a safe space inside for good things to grow. It allows you to cultivate a garden of peace, trust, and mutual respect. It's in that garden that you will find the real treasures of life: genuine connection, unwavering support, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are the master of your own home. It's a tough job, this construction of a life, and it's filled with hard choices. But every time you choose to protect your structure, every time you enforce a boundary, you are laying another brick in the foundation of your own character. You are building a legacy of self-respect that will stand long after you are gone. And that, my friend, is a structure worth building.